What's going on, everybody? Rob here. Today we're going to talk about rust converter. Uh-oh, let me get a thumbnail in here. Rust converter. Okay, I got two different rust converters that I use. I don't get all the way down and clean and sand as buff as I should, but let me show you what I use. Okay, this right here, you can see that rust was converted, gosh, about 10 years ago. And you see this rust was not converted. That rust was converted about 10 years ago. That was with Rust Doctor and Grease Doctor. This Grease Doctor is to clean it. Biodegradable water cleanup. I just rub it with a rag with the Grease Doctor, and I shook this up, Rust Doctor, and that's the Rust Doctor right there. Now, it's not rust proof. You still gotta paint it and top coat it. It's not rust proof. You gotta paint it and top coat it. Now, the other video I just did is on my van. It's Rust Converter, Eastwood Rust Converter. You see the nice picture right there? It does exactly what it says. It converts the rust, okay? Now, before I clean with this one, I use Pre. Pre gets the grease and the stains or whatever, and then I put this on it. Now, the difference between these two right here, Rust Converter, Rust Doctor, and Rust Converter, is I don't even remember. This was expensive as HE double hockey sticks. I think this was like 75 bucks for these. I don't remember how much these were from Eastwood, but this right here is actually thinner than this right here. So when you put it on with this right here, it's thinner, so it appears to go a longer way, but it's thinner. Even when it hardens, it's thinner. And this one right here is thicker, more milkier. So look at my other video on my van frame. So this is what it does. It turns a solid black, right? This is about 10 years old. Now, this is where you don't clean it well. You see that rust right there? That rust that's in there, right? Now look at the other side. It's still galvanized. So this did stop anything else from rusting. You see no more rust right here. This I peeled off because I didn't prep it right. So what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna paint the other half of it with the Rust Doctor right here. Now this is another one too, fast etch. This right here smells a little bit, you gotta watch out. But if you got a rusty surface and you scrub it down with this, I scrub it down with like a SOS pad or something like that with this right here, it would actually, for a day or two, stop the rust. It'll make it a paintable surface where once this dries, you could paint over it. Now right here, to make it solid, what you should do is actually epoxy over it and then put a two-stage paint system over it. But me, my van, if you watch the other video, my van from underneath looks really good where I could paint it at. So I just rust converted my van, so it looks like this right here done. Now this right here, I'm gonna primer it with black primer, and then I'm just gonna protect it with enamel, acrylic enamel right here. So it's gonna make my truck frame shiny. Although this doesn't go as far as this right here, it does give you a thicker coating. So if I would have rolled it on, it would have looked nicer, but I didn't roll it on. What I use is Red Solo cup. I shake this up really good and use a paintbrush in a Red Solo cup, and I paint the whole frame. So there's another video I'm going to link in here so you can see, but this is what I use to keep my van looking nice. And it is really just I rub it down. Honestly, I should sand it. You see this right here, none of this was sanded. This was just rust. None of that was sanded. I put the Grease Doctor on, I wiped it down, I let it dry, and then I put the Rust Doctor on. On my van, I didn't even I just shook this up and I put this right over my van. Don't take that upstairs. He's trying to take my antique little cars upstairs. That's for downstairs. Your upstairs ones are different ones. But stay tuned, because I'm going to go ahead and hit the van frame with black primer and black this. And actually, believe it or not, I got rust encapsulator here, and I got white epoxy here and white acrylic hardener here. But right now, I went with, this is what I went with right now, the Rust Converter. I didn't even use the Pre. Give me that card on here. I went with the Rust Converter, and I'm gonna primer. It's raining outside right now, so I am gonna have to clean it with Pre, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do this. My little grandson took everything else. All right, either way, thank you for watching. Keep posted. It does, both of them to me do work. I talked to somebody who used Pour 15, and it still did this exact same thing down the road. It's still chipped down the road, so your preparation has to be really good. And I wanted to show you what it looked like when it came out. Oh, I gotta get into the van. It's on already. But look at the frame. It's just solid black. Solid black all the way. That was all rusty. You remember from yesterday. And yeah, I didn't scrape it or I didn't nothing. I just tried to keep the rust from spreading, right? So this got to be painted over. You can see the rust on the inside of it. And it's hard. I mean, it is solid all the way. So if you want the perfect job, yes, you're gonna have to scrape it and sandblast it or whatever. I mean, this is my everyday driver. It's not trying to be a show car. So I'm gonna look for an acrylic enamel black paint to spray paint it, 2 coats of acrylic enamel black paint and 2 coats of acrylic enamel gloss, and that's gonna protect it from the chips or from whatever else. But the prequel to this is going to be that I got the rust converter in the basement, and we're going to check that out.